Political expedience overruled any security concerns, and a 2-day tour was scheduled. The itinerary was packed. 5 cities would be visited, starting with San Antonio. Later that same day, the president would visit Houston, and then Fort Worth. The next day, Dallas, and Austin. Kennedy brought a not-so-secret weapon along for the trip.
When President Kennedy would travel somewhere, he would get 100,000. Well, when Mrs. Kennedy came along, the crowds would double. There'd be 200,000 people. And he realized this, and he had asked her if she would help him with the campaign of 1964.
Clint Hill was beside the First Lady, from the beginning to the end of the Texas trip.
So, let me just, you can roll. Okay. So we're slating, this is San Antonio, and I'm starting to roll now.
Air Force One, this is our arrival in San Antonio. Here you see President and Mrs. Kennedy. Here's Congressman Gonzalez, and behind him, he's a local representative. Those are other representatives behind him.
He and my husband were very close. He used to say that Henry was his big brother.
Bertha Gonzalez and 4 of her 8 children were there to meet them. When the president reached Bertha, he gave her a special greeting.
He did like that to me, and he said, "Happy birthday, Bertha." And I thought he was going to shake hands. I said, "Thank you." But when I said thank you, he got like that and gave me a kiss.
There were more than just politicians and their families waiting for the first couple that afternoon. There was the presidential limousine that 24 hours later would become a hearse.
This is the car in which President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. It's important to preserve this presidential limousine because history happened in this back seat. This limo was equipped with 2 different removable tops. One was a solid black steel, and the other was transparent plastic. And these different roofs were put together in separate sections, so you could put them on the car if you needed to protect the president from inclement weather.
The SS-100X always had a Secret Service driver and then a Secret Service agent in the passenger seat, in the front seat. The car itself had handholds on the trunk for the agents like myself to grab onto, to hold onto if we were on the rear of the car, and platforms built into the side of the car and the rear of the car, so that we could stand there in parade situations if necessary. There's always been some allegations about why the agents weren't up on the rear of the car in Dallas. Well, that was simply because the president didn't want them there. And so when we got to Texas, when it was not really necessary, we stayed off the back of the car. Governor and Mrs. Connolly had already seated themselves in the car. I am now alongside of the left side of the car, and we're preparing to travel into the city of San Antonio.
It's interesting that in the New York Times that was printed that Friday morning, an article described it twice that President Kennedy was riding in an open car. Somehow that small detail stuck out in their mind, and they found it worth repeating.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy has 23 hours to live.
På en öde ö i Egeiska havet ligger ett gammalt mysterium.
It represents the beginning of civilization in Europe.
hundratals krossade figuriner.
These sculptures must have been brought here and deposited here deliberately.
Men varifrån kom de? Och vad betydde de för sina skapare?
We suddenly realized there's a whole other side to the story.
Buried Secrets of Keros. Premiär den 4 december på National Geographic.
Varje dag kan vara ett äventyr. Streama nu på Disney+.
Men det här är något annat.
Disneys Lady och Lufsen. Bara på Disney+.
Till alla lekfulla. Alla kladdiga bagare. Och rekordjagare. Vi hyllar er. Du behöver inte ta det försiktigt. För vi har tvättat rent på riktigt. Kom igen, gilla smuts.
Bli löjligt nöjd med ditt nästa köp. Prisjakt. Jämför mer än bara priset.
Släpp alla tankar. Se livets cirklar. Stunder av varm lycka. Toppad med skummad havredryck. Fånga smaken. Value. Oddly good.
När du skaffar abonnemang hos Kombi.
Med underhållning på riktigt hög nivå kommer ansvar. Det är just därför som vi på Mr. Green de senaste 10 åren har prioriterat en säker spelmiljö. Vårt innovativa Green Gaming-verktyg hjälper dig att hålla koll på ditt spelande så att du kan fokusera på det roliga. Upplev spänningen hos Mr. Green.
Brorsan rensar alla fat. Har ändå plats för en gräddnougat. En godare jul önskar Marabou.
Hej, den där dubbel original, hur smakar den?
Men har du hört sån här superhet passionerad röst?